Oh, thought I drifted out of existence there for a bit. Anyway, this week I wanted to tell you guys a story. So our story begins on a night just like tonight, just like any other, with an airsofter bored browsing the internet. And he stumbles across a gun sight. Not an airsoft gun sight, a real gun sight. But what he sees amazes him. It's unbelievable. He wants it. But he knows there's not an airsoft version of it. It's so beautiful. I must have it. No one makes it, how can he get one? When he realises the answer was staring him in the face. You see, this airsofter had a gun sitting in his room that looked very similar, but not the same as the gun on the screen. So, he looks at it, and he thinks, I can do this. And he grabs his bits of paper, he grabs his pen, he starts designing away. Wait a minute, I don't design on bits of paper. And before you know it, he's done it. He's taken this unloved bit of kit that was withering away in the corner and given it a new life as none other than an SAS SLR. And here it is, my L1A1 SAS SLR, or at least as near as I can make it. Now, I'm going to take the suit set off before it breaks again. And here it is. This is originally a base. It's a King Arms FAL, kind of short, I guess carbine-ish version. Muzzle is here. So let's go over what I've done. Well, actually let's go over the history behind it first. So, being the nice guy that I was, I let a mate of mine borrow the old long FAL for a game. And when it came back, it was missing. Let me get it straight. The front iron sight protectors had been broken. The rear iron sight unit was completely missing, but the weird part was, it's a fairly chunky bit of metal. Both the screws that hold it in place were still in the rifle, and there was no damage to it, so how that happened I don't know. Selector Switch had gone walkies, and the butt pad had gone walkies, but not the butt pad itself, just the rubber part of it. The actual bit that clips on was still there. Oh, and I believe charging handle had gone walkies, so pretty much every part that wasn't a core part to the rifle went missing, and I'm sure if I'd left it with him longer, more would have gone missing. And to be fair, he did put his hands up and say, hey, I'm really sorry, all these parts have come off your rifle that you're going to try and sell. I'm happy to pay for replacements. The problem is, King Arms don't have any replacements anymore. So I took the challenge on and designed them all myself. And I don't think I've done a bad job. So this is my favourite part, the rubberised butt pad, one piece now as opposed to two pieces. I doubt that's going to come off in a game, and that's actually the best fitting part. Let me get the wires out of the way. So that's printed in what's called TPU, thermoplastic. I'm going to have to Google that. Up here somewhere. So that's a kind of rubbery flexible material, and that's quite nice. Got a good amount of squish on it, so you can get a good grip behind it. Selector Switch has been reprinted. For this one I've designed it like the SLR with the fatter kind of thumb bit, I guess thumb rest that you rest your thumb against the switch with. The charging handle is a thing of beauty because the upper receiver design between the metric and the Imperial FAL is the metric FAL and the Imperial SLR is slightly different, whereby there's a cutout to allow the folding charging handle on an SLR to actually fold and lock in place. The metric FAL doesn't have that, so I've done a bit of funky design work to make the charging handle fit. It doesn't look exactly the same, but it folds away, it fits there quite nicely. That's close enough. I also took the liberty of embossing SLR SAS onto the charging handle slide assembly, and that all works. I need to get a longer bolt to go through there where this hinges, but other than that, that all works. The rear iron sights, all 3D printed again, with a ratchet lock, kind of locking slide. I'm still fine tuning that design, but it all seems to work quite nicely. And it's got a flip up rear iron sight, and that kind of locks into place as well. Still fine tuning that, but it's in a working position. And the big one, 3D printed flash hider, which does in fact unscrew. So that is a threaded 3D printed flash hider, screws on. Now I'm still trying to nail down PETG printing. Quick side note there, PETG is a type of plastic. It's a new type of plastic. It's a plastic I usually use. So I normally use something called PLA. Oh fuck, I'm going to have to Google that one as well. No, not Port of London. Polylactic acid. Basically PLA is made from sugar and biodegrades. So using it outdoors when it could rain is not a good idea. So I've been looking into PETG, which stands for polyethylene tetrafluoroglycol. Polyethylene terephthalate glycol. I'll put it on the screen. Basically, it's a stronger, harder plastic and is less biodegradable, so is better for making parts for airsoft. Oh, for reference, PLA is what bio BBs can be made out of, so that gives you a reference of how strong it is. Anyway, back to the clip. So this is still looking a bit rough and ready around the edges, but if I want to, I can get it professionally printed in nylon, and that'll be a lot stronger, or even probably take those files and get it machined. I don't know. Is that legal in the UK to get it machined? I'll stick to plastics because, yeah, just in case. But yeah, that's been designed and sits on there quite nicely, and I have been through quite a few iterations of that because they kept, well, breaking. Yeah. Ooh, that's the other one. The mag release lever on King Arms FALs are made out of what you can only assume is gorgonzola, because they break so easily. I've had a 3D printed one in here for the best part of 2 years. Hasn't broken. Has been very, very good and barely any wear on it, which cannot be said about any of the metal ones I've had on any of my FALs. Even that one on the SLR is a bit worn. Anything else I've done to this? Oh yeah, originally it had triangular hand grips with bipod cutouts, like the, I believe it was the German G1, which was the German contract SLR, or German contract FAL that was built, and then they decided to go with the G3 instead. Obviously that's not an SLR, so this has got the plastic SLR grips off of the King Arms SLR. God. Off of the actual SLR that I've got, because that's got the wood on it, which is nice. Now I should probably go over some of the aspects of this which aren't similar to an SLR. So pistol grip is definitely not SLR style, that is very much a FAL style pistol grip. But stock is definitely the FAL design, and the rear receiver as well. Well, lower receiver is a completely different design, which is unfortunate. But hey ho, from a distance no one can tell. What else? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right, it says FAL on it. Yeah, maybe I'll cover that up. I don't know. I think this is very much a decent looking rifle from 5-10 yards away maybe. Oh yeah, the mag release I have now, I talked about it earlier. It is 3D printed, but this is the standard FAL style mag release. So you release with your trigger finger, as opposed to the SLR design, which you release with your thumb on the mag. So it kind of comes through, which I could probably 3D print a version like that. Why does this project never end? I've been trying to do some research into if this rifle ever actually existed, or if that image I've been working off is actually just kind of fan creation, maybe. And as far as I can tell, there's no documented use of a snub-nose rifle with a suit sight on top being used by British Special Forces. The closest thing I can find is some of the wacky-dacky mods that the Aussies and the Kiwis did in Vietnam. So they had one version of the SLR that they liked to, or they affectionately named the Bitch, purely because it was the L2 SLR. So that was the light support weapon, effectively the FAL/SLR equivalent of what the LSW is to the L85. And they took that, and funnily enough, they cut it down just in front of the gas block, and mucked around with the trigger group on it, and made it full auto, and basically scared the shit out of the Viet Cong whenever they went into the jungle with it. I read somewhere basically as soon as they as much saw a leaf move, they would dump all 20 rounds of this in that general direction. So whether or not the British SAS saw that and went, snub-nose SLR, that's quite cool, because I think roughly, I don't have it to compare to, but I think the kind of overall length of this is around the same as M16. So when the SAS were using the M16, they didn't want their kind of heavy hitter to stand out, snub-nose SLR from a distance kind of looks like an M16. Maybe that was the idea. Then you put a suit sight on it and that looks a bit different, but who knows. So in all likelihood, this rifle never really existed, but hey, I think it looks quite cool with the snub nose. Hang on, I'm going to try and... yeah, I think it looks quite cool with the... oh, that looks weird, with the short and length. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a go with this. Might actually make doing CQB with an SLR a bit easier than with the full length. So yeah, that's just a quick overview of one of the little kind of projects I've been working on with regards to 3D printing. I should probably say, all my parts are printed on my printer here. This is a Creality Ender 3. The only modification I've done to it is print a fan cover, and that was my first print I did on it. Nothing else, it's bone stock. So if you guys want to try 3D printing and you have enough money to buy your kind of mid-tier gun kicking around, the Ender 3 retails for under £200, and all the software I use to design and print with it is free. So for 200 quid you can get a 3D printer up and running and start experimenting and printing weird and wacky stuff. Like this block here. What does it do? Nobody knows. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this week's video of my ramblings about is it an actual SLR or not, and my sketch about me deciding to make old snubby boy here. If you enjoy this, sorry. If you've enjoyed this video, then drop a like and a comment down below saying what you like and what you didn't like, or what I should do next. Maybe consider subscribing if you haven't already. Also, be down there. Check out my Instagram, because I do post extra bits and pieces on there and kind of keep up to date with what I'm doing. Yeah. Roll the outro clip. Boop. You're still here? The video's over. It's done. Go home. Oh wait, before you do, instead, why don't you consider watching one of my other videos, or even subscribing on the link down below.